Buenos dias. Es domingo, okay, Sunday, and it's a good morning. We're gonna be leaving for church in around 20 minutes, but this morning I got to spend time in Psalm 67. It's a chapter that's only 7 verses long, and so trying to memorize the entirety of it and then strip it. It gives a good picture of how we can be looking to be expectant of what God wants to do with the nations and his plan to celebrate with all peoples, to be in relationship, like redeemed relationship with all peoples. And so, mostly in that passage, and also reading Luke 5, 4 through 5, where Jesus tells Simon Peter to cast down his nets into deep water as like the fishermen are like cleaning up, and Peter's like, well, like we worked hard like all night and got nothing, but because you said it, I'm gonna cast down nets. Stop playing. And that like, okay, like we will toil and do the work because God said so. Like we will continue to go even when we don't get fish, or even like sometimes we will and sometimes we won't, but we'll go because He said to go. Um, but yeah, good morning, Kate. I love you. The first part of what I was saying is kind of just like in that mode of like documenting, but I really want to talk to you and tell you like yesterday was such a good day. After we got from the airport, so we like met one of our receivers. We met both of them eventually, but one of our receivers, Claire Yerke, she got us from the airport, brought us to the biggest mall in the Caribbean, and so we were there. We go up to the third floor to get our breakfast at this place called El Mesón, and so I was like, okay, let me lock in. Let me try to order in Spanish. You feel me? Go up there. I think I got the El Panier Mojo. El Panier Mojo? Or Panier? El Panier Mojo. I think that's what it's called. And I'm there, like I'm ordering, and like cash, the person working the register, she had a lot of faith in us. She had a lot of faith in us because a lot of us were trying to order in Spanish, but it's like a busy line. So there's also this pressure I was feeling, to where like at one point I asked for apple juice for my drink, even though I wanted passion fruit, because I forgot how to ask. So I like panicked and just said manzana. Ended up having apple juice. Did not want to have apple juice. We already have apple juice at the Airbnb, so it was like tough. But after that, and the other receiver, Luke, he had came, and we were eating with him, getting to know him. He was talking about like his like background. Like I got to talk to him like 1-on-one for a bit. It was like family, his time in Puerto Rico for like the past 3 years. Before that, they were in Costa Rica for a year learning like Spanish and preparing to be a part of the ministry through like Nav Collegiate in Puerto Rico. Then, after we had our breakfast, we get sent to go survey people about the culture of Puerto Rico in the mall. So we go, and the first lady that me and then Jaden McDaniels, we're like partnered up when we go. first person we talked to um, is this lady, this older lady. Her name is Aurora. Um, she said that she didn't speak English, but I didn't want to give up on having a conversation just because I knew it would be difficult to. So we end up talking to her, hearing about bomba and plana, which is like two original Puerto Rican dances. We hear about like some of the foods that she loved growing up in her childhood. Like I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me. Like one of them was like arroz con gandules. Um, she was talking about like another thing that she loves about Puerto Rico is the weather. She was talking about like um, the people are like communal. Don't quote me on that. There's a possibility that that wasn't said, but there's a lot of things that I heard and did not actually hear for real because I was trying to like hold on to the things um, about like music. And it was a great conversation. And then her daughter and her husband ended up coming, who were like both are like, I mean, she's elderly. Her husband is elderly too, and then her daughter's probably like middle age or whatever. She knew more English, and then the conversation like expanded from there, and it was like good. The way that it ended, it was cool. We got to like pray for like those people, not with them, but like after like we walked away. Then we meet with these two gentlemen, also elderly. One of them was talking about his like background with like Jaden mostly. She had learned from him that like he grew up in Puerto Rico, went to the States, to New York for school, ended up going to Harvard, and during his time in the States, like the most glaring thing that he noticed was like that prejudice existed for the first time because his cousin, who was like darker skinned, well, dark skinned, I guess, yeah, darker skinned than him at least, and has like darker hair and features, yada yada, would be treated way differently than him, where they're like related by blood, come from the same culture, and yet the treatment that they would get would be so different because he was like lighter skin, had blonde hair, and I don't know, like that was like one of the biggest differences between the states and like Puerto Rico for him, and it was weird to him. The other guy, Ramon, was talking about like how he doesn't like the U.S. and thinks that like the leaders and everything are like mofos. Um, he was spamming that one. He was spamming that one. The phrases they tried to teach us, because one of our questions is like, what's a Puerto Rican word or phrase that you like to share us with us? Found out later on that it was like the word for bastard. Crazy word. But um yeah, talking to them was really good and they expanded a lot on different things. Telling us places that we should go visit, the significance behind them, like um, Louisa being a place like the only like African originated like town in Puerto Rico, town slash city. I don't know. In retrospect, and then like Ponce is another place to go. I know today we're gonna go to Old San Juan, but anyways, eventually security comes and is trying to tell us that like we can't do these surveys. And when she found out that we weren't like fluent native speakers, like that made her even more upset. And so then she only began talking to the two gentlemen that we were interviewing, and they like stood up for us like through thick and thin, like making their like stance for us, like on our behalf, and it was like really cool. Anyways, then after the experience, I think we're about to go. So I'm gonna wrap up what I'm saying. After that, we went back to the Airbnb, took a nap for like 2 hours or whatever, played some nerds until then we went to Luke's house. His family was hosting our team, and then there's also another team that came from Iowa that is going to be going to different campuses, the different IUP like campuses, and doing like the same thing as us too. And so Luke at his home with his wife Sarah and their 4 kids, Zoe, John, Eleonora, and Kate, whose name is Catherine. Um, they like hosted us, and we had walk-in tacos. Um, we spent time doing introductions, getting to know everybody, be challenged to like ask someone why they said yes to go to like Puerto Rico and whatnot. I got to talk with um, Luke's son for like a lot of the time, and it was like really sweet, and to hear like how like they had like relationships with the people who went before, because Julian had went to Puerto Rico for the mission trip, for the spring break mission trip, like last year. I think it was last year. Yeah, and like hearing some of like the memories they had from that time is like really cool. And then we went over our schedule for the week, for like what we plan to do, kind of like how we plan to do it, like inviting people past, like following up with people after like they express interest and stuff like that, and being like flexible with how like things and plans can change, and also um, yeah, we went over like how to share like the 3 circles. We were practicing that. We were talking about like how like the gospel is the power of God, and how in going out and evangelizing we are unleashing the power of God um, on the campuses and the places that we go. And so yeah, that was like really really cool. And like Luke, chapter 5, 4 through 5, like really stuck out to me about like casting out the nets. I was talking about it just now, like earlier, because I revisited it this morning after I was reading Psalm 67. Um, but yeah, it was all just so good. And then after we were done, like going over like our materials and the tools we can use, excuse me, we had like ice cream, talked more, and then prepared to go home. And then like while I was there, I also got to talk to Luke and his wife Sarah like about like missions and like what it was like to come to the decision to like go, and if they like always thought that this is what God had for them, like long term and whatnot. But yeah, it was like really cool. So after that, we came back to the house, played nerds while people were like showering and stuff, and then went to bed. And now here we are, about to get ready to go to church. So I will see you when I see you. I'll talk to you. Um, I love you, and I hope that your time in Swink is amazing. This is a little look of some of the scenery we got going on over here in this morning. This is the spot that the Airbnb is at. I'll give you a tour soon, maybe. Ciao. I love you from Puerto Rico to Colorado.